Hi everyone, you're very welcome to One Six Figure Focus. This is episode number 33 of Visions, where every single episode I sit down with a different member of the collecting community and discuss the past, the present, and the future of their collecting journey. This one, I don't know this guy too well. I've never streamed him before. I've seen him pop up in a few different streams. He's got a YouTube channel, seems like a dead-on guy, and very active in the community from what I can tell. And I'm really looking forward to discussing his collecting journey with him, asking him a bit more about his YouTube channel. Most importantly, I want to ask Ryan, where did he get his YouTube channel name? Everyone, this is Ryan, aka Mr. Mom's Collectables. Ryan, how are you?
How are you, sir? Very good to have you on. Very good to be on. I really appreciate you taking the time to, give me the platform to be able to tell my story, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
Listen, man, it's a platform for collectors, and the guy's wearing a beanie. You know I have a soft spot for that kind of stuff.
I made sure I saw you
yeah.
had the beanie on. It's hard to tell. This is purple. I have different colors: purple, pink, lavender. It's my color. As you know, all my imagery, lavender is my favorite color, so had a match.
Yeah, good stuff. It's representing. So, man, before I even address the chat, I want to just know, like, how did you get the name for your YouTube channel, if that's all right?
Yeah, so I can address it a little bit early on, but what happened was it actually started when I started collecting Hot Toys. I started collecting Hot Toys, and I like to delve a little bit before that, but Hot Toys, I got into it May of 2020 was actually when I bought my first Hot Toy. And unfortunately, an unfortunate turn of events, due to COVID and everything that was going on, I actually got laid off of work later that month. And
Sorry to hear that.
my daughter was born on June 8th, 2020. So I got laid off a month before work, decided to get into a new collecting hobby. I don't know what's wrong with me. I have no idea. So, everything happened through COVID. After my daughter was born, my wife and I had a sit down conversation about, do I go back to work? What do we want to do? And obviously it was best for us financially if I stayed home and took care of my daughter. With my wife's blessing, we were financially okay. There was no issues with that. But I was a stay-at-home dad for the first, I would say, year and a half of my daughter's life. My daughter's about 2.5 now. So the first year and a half, I was a stay-at-home dad. And my father-in-law coined the name. He started making fun of me, saying, "You know who you are? You're Mr. Mom." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Don't you know the Michael Keaton movie, Mr. Mom?" And I was like, "Oh." So I was, changing diapers. That's not my thing beforehand. So he started calling me Mr. Mom, and he said, "Haven't you ever seen the movie with Michael Keaton?" I said, "No, I heard of it." He says, "Go watch the movie." He goes, "That's your life right now." So I watched Mr. Mom, and sure enough, I was like, that's my life. So running, kids and everything like that. My wife was working full time and I was a stay-at-home dad. And that's the name, Mr. Mom. So the whole collectible thing came up. I was trying to think of a name that was catchy that people would remember. And, Mr. Mom Collectibles, it's kind of hard to get away from that one. So the name kind of stuck and it's taken off ever since then.
Well, it's a fitting name too. And I'd imagine, like, I'm not a father myself, but I'd imagine, like, having that time with your daughter for the first year and a half, like, they're the type of things that you'll remember many years from now as invaluable time.
I can say that during the time it was very stressful, with a lot of uncertainties and figuring everything out as you go. Looking back on it, I wouldn't trade in a minute of it for the world. There's nothing I wouldn't trade. It was the most absolute. I got to see everything from my daughter, first time eating, first time crawling, walking. Not many people can have those experiences. I was able to have every one of them, and I taught my daughter everything she knows. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but hence why she's into the collectibles with me. So we'll touch on that too. But I think that she picked up a lot of traits from me as well. So collecting might be one of them.
So she's like probably 2 now, yeah. Well,
she's about 2.5, 2.5, yeah. So she's at that curious stage. So when she sees these cabinets lit up behind me and everything behind glass, that's a kid's dead ringer to go touch it. So I can't help it. But she's got daddy wrapped around her finger, so I can't say no. So she's involved with everything. So.
And is she your only child then?
She is my only child, yes.
Good stuff. So.
And just to make sure everyone knows, because she's a focal point on my channel, her name is Gwen Stacy Carol is her name. So my name is Ryan. If no one knows my name is actually Ryan Carroll is my real name. But when we were choosing names, Gwen Stacy is actually my daughter's name. So if that's not any more of a geekism there, I don't know what to tell you. But Gwen Stacy is my daughter's name. So
good name.
Yeah.
Good name.
Yep.
Ryan, I'm just going to really quickly address some of these chats.
Absolutely.
Some of these kind folks. So we have Brian, the insane one here. He's always first. Nice to see you there, Brian. Mark Mitchell. I believe you were showing me pictures of that Mars toy Jokers you got in it. It looks fantastic. Fat Batman's collecting nightmare. Some of these names just crack me up. But how are you? Good to see you here. We have T Ria here as well. Steve's showcase. Good stuff. We've Rodri. We've got T Ria again. JC. Bubba Fettuccine. Name always makes me laugh and always makes me hungry. We have Trevor, 1-6 shooter. How are you, Trevor? So Brian's given a direct order. Feed the algorithm, folks. Crush the like and take a subscription if you haven't. My tapeworm, thanks. You got to get that tapeworm sorted, I'm telling you. You got to take some of these YouTubers' advice. Her collection is going to be rad AF when she gets older. Yeah, good stuff, absolutely. Tyria, your own Grogu trying to eat everything.
That's true.
That is funny. We got Doug here as well. We have the Moose Dream in the house as well. Excellent stuff. And we've got Hoonigan. Happy Friday all. How are you? Good stuff. I'm going to run through some very, very basic housekeeping here for... Do I have my slides? No, I don't have my slides. I'm just going to say it. So, folks, since I got monetized on August 1st, all the revenue from August 1st to December 31st, super chats, super stickers, super thanks, all that kind of stuff, ad revenues, all going to be added up. And in the new year, in January, totted up and donated to the Temple Street Children's Hospital. It's Dublin's, Ireland's, it's a hospital in Dublin, but it's Ireland's National Children's Hospital. So just because I got a lot of support from the collecting community coming up, I want to give some of that back to other people. So right, moving on. We're going to start off and we're going to put this man under pressure. It's not really pressure. You know the drill. Every time you hear the sound, Ryan, I'm going to ask you a focus question. Pun very much intended. Okay. I'm actually going to do it on purpose. If I catch you mid-sentence, even better. Ryan, just going to go to my question bank. So we'll try to mix it up a little bit. So the first question I have for you, Ryan, before we get into the past of your collecting journey is, what is the most exciting Hot Toys announcement recently? Not release, but announcement. What one, like, in the last few weeks or few months, you're like, oh, I'm buzzing to see that?
I'm a sucker for anything that is... that's a callback to my childhood, whether it's a hot toy, which it's something like, I know it sounds so silly, but like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or those kind of figures. Those are the ones that get me. The RoboCop.
That doesn't sound silly at all, man.
The RoboCop announcement from RoboCop 3, although I don't like the movie. Yeah, it's, I'm a pillar of, I'm an 80s person. So any of that stuff, I love a lot. I'm a sucker for, I ain't gonna lie, the reissues. I know that's a word that is taboo, but I like it because it gives people an opportunity. The reissues are probably the biggest thing, I gotta say, because it gives me a choice of whether I want it or I don't want it. I could pass on it, like the Batman suit Tactical from Justice League. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting it. I didn't get it the last time it came out, but I would have to say probably reissues excite me the most, just because it gives me an opportunity. I don't get them all, but do I want it? Do I not? I got a good choice in that. And I know I'm going to get it for probably, I don't want to say a fair price, because obviously the price on Hot Toys has gone up, but probably a better than secondary market price. So, and I won't lie, I have a couple of reissues in the back there, like the Mark V and the War Machine Mark I. I got those because, it's a second chance. So it helps out younger collectors like myself, who've only been in the community for about 2+ years. So I know reissue is a taboo word, but I think I get most excited over the reissues, to be honest.
I fucking love reissues, man. Sorry, backstage I said to Ryan, I was like, yeah, we don't really swear much in this. The odd one pops out, but man, I absolutely love reissues. I don't really. I'm not that type of collector. I've got that RoboCop on the chair behind there. If they reissue that tomorrow, I'll be happy for those who
absolutely,
haven't got
100%.
it. The Mark VI there is one of my favorites. A lot of people kind of reissue. It's going to happen.
I'm waiting for it. That and the Mark IV gantry. I'm waiting for it.
Tell you what, Ryan, right? When the 1/6 scale Mark IV gantry and when the 1/6 scale Mark VI gets 2.0, me and you are going to stream together, and you're going to
There
go,
you
so
go.
Shane, are you going to be a hypocrite now, or are you going to be happy for me? And I'm going to say, Ryan, I'm delighted for you, I'm going to have a beer for you, because that is the way it should be.
I'll do a
right?
live stream of me opening it for the first time, so that way it can be seen, my live expression
I'll
versus.
be there. I'll
there
be
you
there.
go.
I got to put up this, I got to address a few chats here really quickly, sorry. Boba Fettuccini, I swear to God, you are going to actually fund a wing in the Children's Hospital if you keep doing this. Every single premiere I do, everything I stream I do, this guy pops out at $5. I mean, if I was keeping this money for myself, I'd probably have a Hot Toys figure already. Boba Fettuccini, thank you. Not all heroes wear capes. Cough it up for the kids, for the younglings. Thank you. Anthony Wagstaff, haven't seen you in a while. What is up, Anthony? I think Anthony had his first child recently, if I do believe. Shiny for the younglings. I love that hashtag. Got a question, please answer. So Justin just reviewed a figure the other day called the Reptilian, and then said after you can get it from Toys Wonderland. Well, you can't. I even emailed them. Maybe they're sold out. I don't have the answer to the question. Do you know, Ryan?
No, I haven't. I did see his review because I actually was on the fence about it, because I know the Andrew Garfield, which, like I said, we can touch on. The Andrew Garfield hasn't hit Sideshow. I don't know if there's some licensing issues with that, why Andrew isn't on Sideshow, but I know you can get them from Hong Kong sites. But I'm really torn because I don't know if I want the deluxe with the base. I thought about actually getting this figure to represent the lizard. I gotta say, when I saw that review though, I'm not getting it. Great figure, but it's bigger than Venom, which is like, oof, that's
Space
huge.
hog.
And it's a big boy, so
Yeah, I feel that. I'm actually going for I do have a vision for pun. Actually, that pun wasn't.
I have my own. We can talk about it. I heard you talk about today your vision for
I'm not going to bore you again, but yeah.
No, I heard that, and I have my own vision, which I hope I can execute. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what is it?
Well, my whole thing is I'm not normally a completionist with a line. I want to attempt to try to complete the No Way Home line to an extent. Obviously the 3 Spider-Men, getting them, the villains, getting them. But I also want to get the Doctor Strange and have kind of like a spell display with all the figures and all that stuff to try to figure something out. But it makes me have to try to collect the whole line, which is going to be a juggling act, so to speak. But I wanted to have a nice display of the Doctor Strange casting the spell with some of the villains and things like that. So I had a vision for it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to execute it, just because the budget might tell me no. But we'll see what happens. See if some of them hit the bargain bin.
The budget gets us. I'm gonna fly through some of these, and then we're gonna go into the past of your collecting journey. So we got good to hear your son is doing 13 weeks old already. And,
congratulations.
That's great to hear that he's doing well, Anthony. It's all good, Shane, appreciate it, but you're the hero here doing what you're doing. Look, I technically it's not my money, so it's like it's basically forfeiting the collecting community's money, so thank you very much. Copper, how are you? Right, so we're going to move on to the past. We're going to start with the past. So I'm going to give you a few leading questions. You can tell your story. They're not here to listen to me. We're here to listen to you. This works best if you're talking like 75% of the time. So a few leading questions. I want to know, like you kind of touched on it already. What was your first ever hot toy? Who did you buy it from? How did you react to that price? Did you think it was going to be one and done? Or did you think right from the start going, no, I've opened up a can of worms here. I'm in trouble here. How did you react to it? How did you react to the price? Who did you buy it from? Tell us everything. Like us nerds, man, us collecting nerds. Like we speak so poetically about the smell of unboxing one of these hot toys.
Sometimes I wish there was a candle.
Yeah, Yankee candle, hot toys unboxed. That could be a thing. Someone's going to Photoshop that. Someone's going to Photoshop
Iron Man,
that.
Batman, they all have a different smell. Leather, plastic, metal, they're all different.
Yeah. God, I hope that's not toxic. But so talk us through where did your journey with Hot Toys start?
So the journey, as I said, started May of 2020. I can actually pinpoint the exact month. Before that, I'm an avid collector of pop culture, anything. So, and when I was younger, when I was a kid, when I was a baby, like I said, I was born in the 80s. I was born in 87 specifically. And I don't know if it was a good childhood, but I would say that the 4 pillar stones or corners of my childhood were Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Batman, and RoboCop. I don't know if that was the best, I don't know if it's the best childhood, but that's the best right there.
Sounds great.
So when I was a
kids
kid,
these days don't know childhood.
no. So when I was a kid, I had everything Ghostbusters. I was spoiled with Ghostbusters, everything like that. Back to the Future, everything. I wasn't into Marvel. I wasn't into DC. Not really into that kind of. I just wasn't. I grew up on those movies, and that's just what I was engulfed in. The '90s Ghostbusters cartoon show. I had everything. The proton packs. I had all that stuff. So but I was always an avid collector of pop culture. I started getting into comics, things like that when I was in my teens, and that's where, Spider-Man, I always knew of all the characters. But I just wasn't enticed in anything. And then I fell face forward into it. All the movies, all the Marvel, all that stuff was fantastic. One thing I did want to show you, if it's all right, I actually have my most valuable, to me, collectible. It's not a hot toy, but as I said, I collect everything. We'll get into hot toys. This was my oldest collectible here, and it's a 1989 EMT Ghostbusters Ecto 1A model. Now, this is the only thing I can honestly say. I've had this since I was probably my daughter's age, which is unbelievable to be able to touch something that I touched this when I was a kid. And I still have it. My uncle put it together, painted it, and it's been left as is, broken.
Your uncle made that?
Well, this is a model kit. They still
It's
make
a kit.
them, but he built this and he painted this, and I haven't touched it since. And believe it or not, I've lost a lot of things as a kid. That's why I love reissues. Probably why I love reissue Hot Toys. But the fact is, this has traveled with me since I was probably my daughter's age. So this stays up on a shelf. But this is just personally my most valuable item that I own. It's worthless to anybody else, but to me,
it's priceless to you, man. I get that as well. Like I've always been good at looking after things, and my sister was notoriously bad for looking after things.
Yeah.
We used to make jokes like, you'll know when Louise comes back into the house because the door will slam and the house will shake. But she was hard on her toys. Like, but when I was a kid, I just like to look after things, and
I never had that value in stuff. I never did.
Yeah.
I had toys, came and gone. That's why I said I love the Kenner stuff, how they're like you see behind me, the Ghostbusters up there, Kenner reissues.
Yeah.
Those are toys I had as a kid. They reissued them. I picked them up. I
buy one.
I actually bought one, kept one. My daughter plays with the other one, and I have one in box. So it wasn't planned. But so as I got older, the biggest thing is what really delved me into Marvel and all that stuff was when I was in college. This is one thing I was going to tell you. I actually interned at Marvel Comics for 2 semesters in Manhattan. I was a representative came to our school, pitched the program. And I actually got into the program 2 semesters earlier when they saw my portfolio work. They just said it was something that, I got into. So I was able to get into it.
So
and I actually
what did you go to college as?
I was actually a graphic designer,
amazing.
an illustrator. So that's my background. And so I did that all through school. I actually went to the Art Institute of New York City in Manhattan, and I was a block away from the Ghostbusters firehouse in New York. I didn't know that at the time when I was visiting the school. I didn't know. I saw this firehouse and I was like, why does this look so familiar? And it was actually every day I would walk past the Ghostbusters firehouse, and they had the original sign hanging inside the firehouse, and it was so cool. But that was my morning commute every day, is walking by the firehouse. And but I got to intern at Marvel Comics, and that I just fell in love with Marvel. I mean, I was a fan of Marvel, but I just fell in love with Marvel. And I worked in the trades department where they were just starting to digitize comics for their website, apps, things like that. And they would give me stacks of comic books. I'd scan them in, and I'd sit there and digitally retouch old comics to be digitized for online media. That's what I did for 2 semesters.
That is possibly one of the coolest jobs I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it was boring at times because but it was great. And what was fantastic about it is I was there when they were filming the Captain America, the post-credit scene when he was running through New York City, Times Square. I was working that day when they saw that, and it was a big commotion. Traffic was blocked, so I got to see kind of glimpses of that. And Thor, Chris Hemsworth, when he was really a nobody, came by the Marvel office and was walking around. I got to meet Thor. Didn't get a photo with him, but I got to meet Thor, and it was just an unbelievable experience. So
how did you manage to get through the crowd of young women trying to get near?
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, it wasn't easy. It was definitely like a pat, like a handshake. It wasn't anything where I was able to get a photo op. Yeah. But he wasn't. This was 2000 and was it 2011, 2010, so really he was I don't know if he was anybody, he was a nobody then.
But
so
was this like
I had a
pre Goats tour?
Yeah, pretty much. And like I think Jose Quesada, who's like one of the big executives now at Marvel Comics, I met him. So it was a really great experience. But fast forward to collecting stuff as I go, pop culture, things like that. I always saw stuff that caught my eye. But the Hot Toys, I always collected like little figures, things like that. But Hot Toys, actually, a coworker got me into Hot Toys. He was getting out of them and got me into them, funny enough. And so it was March of 2020, and another coworker was a huge avid collector of just various stuff, 3D printing stuff, and we hit it off and we talked for a long time. And I don't recall exactly how it was, but he said, said something about Hot Toys. I said, what are Hot Toys? Like, what is that? And he goes, you never heard of Hot Toys? I says, no, what is a Hot Toy? I don't know, what is that? That's a weird name for a fig. Like, what is that? And he goes, oh, go on. I think he told me to go on Sideshow Collectables in the States. He said, go on Sideshow Collectables and check them out. And so I was like, all right. So I went online and he was telling me how he was getting out of it because they're very expensive, all that stuff. So I went online. I saw them, and it's hard to see them on a website. And I was like, oh, they look cool. But the first thing I saw was a price tag. I was like, oh, $300 for a figure, a toy. That's my first impression of it. I was like, oh, all right. I mean, it's cool, but I don't, what am I going to, it's a lot of money. And he's like, well, when you get them in hand, and I think that's what he tipped me off. He goes, if you get it in hand, it's addicting. It's addicting. So he said he was trying to,
this guy's a straight up dealer, man.
Yeah. He was like trying to say like, yo, you get your first one. He goes, that's why he was getting out of it. Cause he said, it's just, money adds up. So I said, oh yeah. So my first one, I can't recall what made me actually pull the trigger on it. I think I just said, let me just do it. And I ordered the Iron Man. It was a reissue, funny enough. The Mark 40, what was it? The 43 from Avengers, Age of Ultron. That was my first one. I ordered it. I had it on a payment plan.
That's the one that goes in the Hulkbuster, isn't it?
That's the one that goes in the Hulkbuster. Yeah. That was my very first one. I did it on a payment plan, and in a 2-month installment. So I did 1 month, paid it, and then the next month, I honestly forgot about it. It came in June, and box came, got tracking number. I was like, oh, I honestly forgot that I even got it because there was caught in a whirlwind. My daughter was born, things like that. I totally forgot about it. The payment was made. I was
state of the world at the time as well. There was a lot of crap.
Yeah, I was like, why did I just make this payment? What just came out of my bank account? I'm like, oh, Sideshow Collectables. I said, okay. So got it. It came, and this box comes. It's big. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting an all plastic figure. I knew 1/6 scale. I expected it to be very lightweight. The box to be, like something you get double boxed at Walmart or something like that. Nothing crazy. And the first thing I remember picking it up, I'm like, wow, this thing's heavy. My wife was sitting there. She goes, what did you order? I was like, I got this Hot Toy. So I picked it up, put it on the counter. I opened it up. I slid this box out, and I'm like, I was blown away. I couldn't, I actually didn't have words. My wife was looking at me. She was stunned because she's like, what did you just order and how much was it? And I said, I don't know. And I don't remember how much, so I can't answer that. I don't know. And so I open up the figure.
Nice. That's a good excuse. They must put
that in I said, I don't remember. And I was kind of truthful, but a little bit of line there. So I open up the figure, and I remember I opened up the plastic and the carton, and I see the Iron Man, and I was just, I didn't know what I was looking at. It was just unbelievable. It just wasn't what I thought it was. I just was expecting like a Kenner, a Black Series, a McFarlane, just on a bigger scale, the old Todd McFarlane's figures. I just expected that on a bigger scale. It's honestly what I thought it was. And yeah, I know I paid at the time, I think it was like $300, but so I opened it up and I picked it up and I held it in my hands, and just the weight blew me away how heavy this thing was. And I just realized, wow, this is not something, this is something to look at from a distance, in the sense of I was afraid to touch it. And I remember put it up and I opened it up, went through the manual, all broke out the accessories. And then I saw the Tony Stark head sculpt. And I realized then that I was dealing with a piece of art more than just a toy, a collectible, what have you, whatever word you want to call it. I was dealing with a piece of artwork in my hands. And that was a moment that I will never forget. And honestly, I feel that way every time I get one. It doesn't change. Every time a Hot Toy comes, I still feel like it's my first one, and I get really excited for it. It's like Christmas. It's Hot Toys Day when I know it's being delivered. But when I saw that Tony Stark head sculpt, it just blew me away, and I knew I was holding something different than anything I've ever had before, and I knew I wanted more of them. That was it. I knew I wanted more. And I showed my wife. She wasn't too into it, but she was impressed with what it was. And then her first question was, oh, do you think that you can get get your our nephew one. I said, no, absolutely not. Not, you know, when you know how much money it was. No, because it was close to my nephew's birthday. He was like 6 years old, and she's like, oh, I think he'd really like that Iron Man. I think we should get him one. How much did you pay for that? I go, don't ask. And no, he can't have it. She goes, oh, okay. And that conversation ended. But I was blown away by the figure. I posed it up. It you know, I didn't have a place to display anything. It sat in my kitchen, my dining room, like on a table somewhere for weeks, and you know, it was unbelievable. And I couldn't believe it. And I had to have more. Unfortunately, that figure is not here anymore. I sold it, which can get it. Then we can talk about that kind of stuff. You know, hard decisions made. I don't have that figure anymore. I'm going to stop you there.
I have to ask again. If any of the questions I ask are like you're kind of going, oh, that's kind of a bit too personal. Like, obviously, no. Feel free to not answer. I totally get it. Why did you sell that particularly one if it was your first and you're really satisfied with it? I'm just, again, that's not
I actually sold it.
Question. I'm just curious.
No, absolutely not. I sold actually a lot of figures. And that actually has to go with something to talk about with my mentality as a collector. My mentality 2 years ago is not my mentality now. I'm a different person. I did a completely 180. And so I sold it just because it didn't fit the collection that I realized my collection was gearing towards. In the beginning, and to backtrack just 1 second, how I funded my initial Hot Toys collection was I was a big memorabilia collector of sports memorabilia, and I sold everything off. So I had about $5,000 or $6,000 from sports memorabilia. I'm talking jerseys. Behind this was all jersey, autograph, you know, all that stuff. You delve into it. I ended up just selling everything off, piecing everything off, and I ended up going into Hot Toys. That's kind of how I funded my initial Hot Toys spree. But then when I was buying stuff up at not a rapid pace, but fairly at a quick pace. And the collection that I had no rhyme or reason of what my collection was going to be. I just saw stuff, bought it, saw stuff, bought it, saw stuff, bought it. My second Hot Toy is John Wick. I still have him. My third Hot Toy was actually got it on a waitlist conversion, was the Justice League Superman. He just sold out. I have it here. Yeah. Just sold out when I got into the hobby. Jumped on it, and the waitlist conversion, I paid for it immediately. That's why the Justice League Batman tactical suit means something to me, because I missed out on that when I got into the hobby. Like, I think back sometimes what I could have had if I got into Hot Toys even a month before. I probably would have had the Mark IV gantry, because I looked at it time-wise. Probably could have got the gantry. Probably could have got a couple figures.
It's a showstopper.
Yeah, but you know what? That's one of those things where it's just, that's where the cards fall. I mean, there's new collectors happening right now that are missing out on stuff. That's why I like.
Do you know what? That reminds me of a phrase. The Chinese have this. I think it's a Chinese proverb or phrase. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It's you know, you could argue that the best time to plant a tree was 19 years ago, but you know what I mean. It's like it's never too late to start a new hobby, or you know, like start eating healthy or go to the gym or whatever like that. But
never too late.
So there's people that you start today, you'll be in a better position than maybe people are starting a year from now. Just really quickly, just want to address something there. Shiny asking, is that Billie Eilish on my shirt? No, it's just some random girl. It's looking forward to snowboard season, so this is like one of my shirts that I just reminds me and gets me in the zone. Collectors Universe, hello everyone, and Mr. Mom's Collectables got me reliving opening my first. I actually thought your description, Ryan, was really, really apt. It was definitely the way you described it, and with such passion and enthusiasm, it definitely brings me back to my first Iron Man and my first Hot Toy as well. But sorry, continue on. I interrupted you. Apologies.
No. So I got a couple figures, and so like I said, the collection in the beginning when I was buying, there was no rhyme or reason. I bought what I liked. Saw it. Could I afford it? I bought it. That was it. There was no other thought process. What is this collection going to mature into? Is this collection going to last? Is this something that has an end game? Is there an end game? Does it ever stop? I don't know. So I just was in the moment. I can remember my first 4 or 5. If you want to call it a grail, if it gets reissued, it won't be. But I think my 4th or 5th one was the 1989 Batman. Ooh. That was my wife. That's what got my wife into. She's not into the hobby, but that's what made her realize this is something, because that's the first figure she actually helped me bargain find. Where my wife is a very big bargain finder. She's on Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. She likes all those deals. I knew that she was kind of into it when she was sending me screenshots of figures saying, is this a good price? Is this a good price? And then I remember her finding the Adam West hot toy for like $500. She goes, what about this? I'm like, I appreciate your enthusiasm in trying to help me, because she knew Michael Keaton is my Batman. That's
man, that's like, come on. If ever there was a keeper, she's 100% a keeper.
Yeah,
Shout out to all the wives and girlfriends and partners who not only
Support
tolerate us, but actually help out. You remind me of Reviews with Rich. Is a big bargain hunter, and he's a wheeler dealer. I call him the Del Boy of hot toys. It's like, did you ever watch Only Fools and Horses? It's an English TV show. Yeah, so he's
I've heard of
the wheeler dealer, the hot toys wheeler dealer. He always compliments his wife. Will help him hunt down things and link him deals from eBay. Going, is this a good deal? Is this a good deal for this?
That's what my wife was doing. So I secured a 1989 Batman for what I thought was a decent price. It was $350.
That is a decent price.
Didn't come with a shipper, and the purse system was I think it was broken in the sense you had to do both eyes separately instead of together. But the figure is, he's right where he's somewhere. Yeah, he's up in the corner there. I see him. There he is, right there. He's mint. He sits in museum pose, but the suit is mint, absolutely mint. So I think I got a steal for him.
And is that the Joker DX08 next to him?
That, believe it or not, that's the Mars Toys Joker.
I've heard
so that's another one, and behind him
is
the meme. He's in there too. It's actually the Mars Toys. That's the closest that I'm going to get to that one. I can't justify. I could have got that one. Couldn't justify the price on him, and I didn't know if he'll be reissued sometime. But I saw that Mars Toys.
Easily.
Yeah, he's actually my first third party that I ever had. I dabble in some third parties. He was my first one. Very good companion piece, so he goes with them, and for the price it was hard to pass up. But when I went down the Hot Toys route, I started buying them all up, and didn't know what the collection was going to turn into. And as I said, that kind of jumped me into getting onto YouTube a few months later, following streams, looking at other YouTubers, influencers, people like that, and kind of getting a gauge for what's out there. Because you got to remember, I was buying this stuff not knowing what Hot Toys was. I didn't know about distribution. I didn't know that there was a 6-month time lapse between Hong Kong and United States. I didn't know any of that stuff. I was just literally buying what I saw and going on eBay. I didn't know about the market groups, didn't know about any of that stuff. So I made a video, and like I said, I'm not trying to plug any stuff, but I actually made a video when I first started my YouTube channel, which was 10 tips I wish I would have given myself 2 years ago when collecting Hot Toys. And one of them was, one of my tips was, and I now that's what changed my perspective is, I think my number one tip was, you'll love everything, but you can't have it. And once you accept that reality, it makes collecting a lot easier, easier. Especially when they put stuff up on.
Of course, 100% feel free to plug your channel, because that's how.
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win mentality. I think for 1/6 scale content creators, like I wouldn't have the channel and the subs that I have. Like I'm still a relatively small channel, but I wouldn't have the platform if it wasn't for say the likes of Lael or like Brother Cousins getting me on his channel, or Will or whatever, and so it's kind of everyone helps each other out, like. So
well, that's the one thing I gotta that's the one I gotta say is that just starting out, like I said, I still call myself a year 2 collector, year 2, year 3, and I see on the groups, not that the younger collectors are looked down upon or talked. Everyone is so helpful to everybody. I just reached out. I'm not trying to just go out there and shamelessly spam myself to everybody, but I think I have an opinion, and for someone that's been around for 2 years, everyone I follow or talk to has been in the game for many years. So there's certain mindsets that people have that are kind of set. As I said, reissue is like a taboo word with older collectors. They just want new stuff, while the younger collectors, they want the reissues. So I'm kind of in between. So it's just trying to, share my voice and give my opinion that I think, 'cause I think I have one that I can share. And like I said, my whole point of my channel is to help those who are starting out who may not know. And that was one of the things, like I said, getting into it was I saw everything that I liked, and I thought I could get everything that I liked. And that's what I was doing. I was buying up stuff. I was dabbling in, mostly Marvel, a little bit of DC. I think the Batman was my only one. And then, it started going and going and going. And then I started educating myself on YouTube, Found out about Sideshow Collectables, how it operates as a company in terms of distribution, the time frames, things like that. And then I started to kind of listen to other people out there and kind of figure out people's mentalities of how they collect. And, you know, and I was racking up pre-orders pretty fast. That was my dangerous thing, was the pre-order situation with Sideshow, you know, putting down a $30 deposit, which sounds like, you know, it's not a big deal, but that adds up when you have 6 of them due every month. You know, you have 6 payments, which that's not a good thing. So I stopped myself before I went into a slippery slope with the pre-orders. That was a big deal for me. And using YouTube as a resource, it started to change my mentality of, you know, I questioned everything about my collecting. Day one pre-ordering. How do I pre-order? When do I pre-order? Where do I store my figures? Everything, every aspect of it was looked at. I had about 10 or 12 figures at that time, but I dissected every aspect of my collecting, and I really changed every aspect of how I thought about collecting as a collector. Because I knew from that Iron Man figure, from that 43, even though it's not here anymore, I knew I was in this for the long haul. There's been other things I collected, stopped. This is something that it's not going away anytime soon. And I knew that to avoid burnout, which I call it, you know, or it's, or, you know, the burnout, it's either going to be budget or time or just bored of the hobby. I'm not letting anything stop me. So I set rules for myself. And I heard you talk about rules. I set my own set of rules that keep me in the hobby. I can collect what I like comfortably, financially, space, everything. And, you know, that kind of brought me to where I am right now in terms of how I collect and what I collect. And that kind of brought us up to the present, so to speak.
That actually is a perfect segue for this. All right, you're in the hot seat again. So now that's actually perfect, because so that's how you got started, and that's the past year collecting. You established how you started your first figure, and that was from Sideshow, wasn't it?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Sideshow Collectables.
So the second focus question, we're going to get you 5 over the course of the live stream. The second one is, name 3 figures that have been released that you have your eyes on, as in they're out there, you can purchase them, but maybe you're waiting on a deal, or maybe you're kind of it's not the right time to get them, or you're waiting to pay off something else. So 3 figures that are released, that have been released in the last few weeks or months, that you're like, yeah, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for that.
One of them, actually, if I don't mind, one of them I just made the purchase on, which is which is the 1984 Golden Armor Wonder Woman. That is one that I had my eye on for a very long time. I was not a fan of the movie. The movie I didn't like. I liked loved the first Wonder Woman. I think they dropped the ball on the second one. I was really upset because 80s is, like I said, a child of the 80s. Loved the movie concept, but the movie. So that was the first figure. I was really skeptical about getting it for a very long time. The price never bothered me. If it was right, I would have bought it. Never bothered me about like holding out. Luckily, I got it 30% off from Sideshow just a couple days ago. So that I bought.
Was the,
so that
special deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was unbelievable. So I got that one secured. And also I was worried about space on that one, which is one of my parameters, space. I really wanted to display that figure open wingspan. A lot of the figures I see in the DTOFs are closed wingspan. I really wanted to open that thing up and have it open wingspan. So I really like that a lot. So I secured that one. Figures that are out now, you know, the other one I really want, it's an old one. It's an old one. It's not, if it's all right to say, hasn't been released. It's been released for a while. The Boba Fett from Empire Strikes Back.
The 40th anniversary or something like that.
I really want that one.
Yeah,
I really want. I missed that. That's one I missed out when I got into the hobby. It's been out for. I see it on the trade groups. Yep, I see it on the trade groups hovering around the 300, 350 price. I'm just waiting. I don't know what's holding me back from just dumping that money up front. But the issue with that is, as you can see back here, my my Mandos, my Warren Boba Fett, my original Mando, and that's the Arena. Those 3, and I unintentionally fell into that Mando, and now I feel like I need the OG. The 40th anniversary. Yeah, and then the other one is the Jango Fett.
Jango, yeah.
I need him. I feel like I need him.
Mando.
And I kind of want to do a display where it's kind of like past, present, future kind of thing with them, or like a progression line with Boba Fett. But those 2 are ones that, like I said, the Django's been out for a little while. There's a couple new ones that came out that I know have been released that I've been waiting on. The Iron Man Mark III construction. I've seen that. That one's going to get launched soon. The mech test one, I have that one on pre-order, paid off, waiting for that to come out. So I'm trying to throttle myself back.
They will look great together. That construction's already starting to. That's going to tank, and I think you mightn't want to hear this, but the mech test is. I do think that's going to tank in value as well.
That's unfortunate because the mech test is actually my very first hot toy pre-order. Actual pre-order. It was my first one.
It actually really impressed me. Like
I had it paid off for over a year. Yeah. So when I hear people saying it's gonna go bargain bin, I don't doubt that it's gonna. But the way I see it is that money's gone. Well, it is what it is. It'll be a nice Christmas present.
I'm absolutely the same. My mentality is the same. It's like I'm still going to enjoy it anyway. Like regardless. Yeah. Like if I can get a deal, I can get a deal. But
I remember when I got that, I pre-ordered that thing. Yeah.
The construction and the mech test together, they're gonna
fantastic.
That's
and then especially with the Mark 1, the Mark 3. I mean, those are coming out. It's begging for a Mark 2. It's begging for a Mark 2 reissue. I mean, it's begging for a Mark 2. So
in terms of where you're at now, obviously you're like myself. You have DTOFs. You're displaying DTOFs. Like, do you know your body count? Do you know your number? Like, as in, like, how many?
I'm over the 60s.
You have? You're over the 60s?
I think I'm just about 3, 6, 9, 12, maybe about 50. A little about 50 going into 60. With the pre-orders that I have coming, pre-orders I have coming will be definitely over 70, 80. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a substantial collection. And would is it you've only one third party and the rest of them are licensed, is it, or?
Yeah, they're all Hot Toys. I do have a couple. I'm just looking at them, so I apologize if I'm looking back. I see the Mars Toys Joker, the meme. I also have the Jared Leto. I forget who made that one. The Jared Leto from the Justice League Nightmare when that was launched. I forget who launched that one. I know there was a couple figures. And then my most recent third party was the Kingpin from So Toys. I had a review of that one. Yeah, fantastic figure. So I had to get that one. And I have a couple third parties on pre-order. I know there's a Punisher third party. I forget who's doing that. And then I think So is also doing a little bit of a reissue of the Daredevil in the suit with the cane. So I have that on pre-order for a long time, but I would say a majority of my figures are all Hot Toys, 95% of them, if not more. And where I purchased them from, I'm mostly Sideshow Collectables, not affiliated. I'm not plugging them. They have their issues like everybody else. One of the things that is my bread and butter, and I'll delve into it really, and this kind of goes into the video that I made about my tips or my rules. I personally, what fits my lifestyle, I live and die kind of on payment plans, whether it's 2 months or 3 months. I kind of need to spread my stuff out a little bit because at the end of the day, I'm a husband and a father first. And that's one thing to kind of bear in mind. My bills have to be paid, my mortgage, money has to be put away. My daughter's first priority. I always say my daughter's first, my wife's second, my dogs are third, I'm fourth. And whatever's left over, I'll take what's left over. That's just how it is. I'll put my dogs before my dogs' needs are more important. So this the Hot Toys, it's a hobby, but at the end of the day, it's not number one. I mean, it is to me, but there's more things that are more important to me. So budgeting is very important, and I did not have that aspect of budgeting before. So listening to a couple of YouTubers of how things were done, I decided to budget myself for Hot Toys, like really budget myself. So I actually, and it's another video that I made a spreadsheet on my collecting. I have an Excel spreadsheet. I should have shared it with you so you can take a look, but I actually have a spreadsheet that has all my pre-orders, not a lot. I'd say I have about 10, but I have them spread out over the course of, I have them going into next year. And what that does is I have a certain dollar amount every month that in my head I spend on Hot Toys. It's around $300. Now, what that means to me is it could be 4 figures. I'm paying $50 a month on payment plans, or it could be one big figure that's $100. Whatever that magic number is to make it 300. That's where I am, and I cap myself at that. That's where I cap myself. I don't exceed that. So what that means is if a new figure comes out, I won't pre-order it until I know I have the wiggle room to do that. That is my number one rule that I budgeted myself for, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Like I know, for example, my pre-orders in June, July, August, like I know. And one thing that I thought about pre-ordering, which I'm not going to, is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And I usually pre-order stuff on payment plan that's a higher dollar value for me. So I'm, savings are great, but I need sometimes, like, I need that little extra. Like, for example, the Back to the Future DeLorean, I have that on pre-order with Sideshow. I think the first payment is starting December or January, if I'm not mistaken. But I need those 7 or 8 months to pay that thing off. I understand that might go discount, that might have a little coupon on it, but I know Sideshow won't give 8-month payments plans at the time. They'll give 3 or 4. So I need those 8 months. Hence why I pre-ordered that up front, which is important to me. So I see someone had a question here, actually.
Yeah.
Stop.
What you think of it?
That was a reissue that I'm so glad they did. I loved it. I did it. I had the Justice League Batman, the black suit. I loved Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour version of it. I think it's, from an artistic standpoint, it's a fantastic movie. I will be collecting a whole Justice League setup. I'll be making my own Justice League. Like, I have the 1984 Wonder Woman regular paid off. That will be my Wonder Woman. Cyborg, I'm gonna pick him up. I've always wanted that Nightmare Batman. He was one of the ones that I wanted, but it was too much of a sticker price. So when that came out, I had to have it immediately. I know you can get it at discount with free shipping and things like that now, but that's just the nature of the game. I don't think anyone anticipated. I don't know. I hear people say now that they did, but there are certain figures that I don't think people anticipated Sideshow having these big discounts on and things like that. Like, I know the Boba Fett 2-pack. I mean, that thing is bargain bin also, but I bought that at retail. So it is what it is. If that's, this hobby, you're gonna win some, lose some. I don't sweat it. I try to get deals where I can. Some deals I do. Other times I just want to get the figure, and I'll pay it off as is, which is fine with me. So
yeah, the 2-packs, like tend to hold their value over time, even though, like, I know the Boba Robot 2-pack, which is fantastic, has kind of tanked in value, but I reckon give it another year or two. Once that's sold out at major retailers, it'll join the rest of the 2-packs and just
it photographs fantastic. I know on my Instagram I've been posting a bunch of photos recently with photography. The Boba Fett just photographs amazing, those Mandos. So I've been kind of on a photography haul where when I photograph figures, because I did photography and everything back then, when I photograph figures, I usually have a batch of figures that I'll just obsessively photograph, do those, and then I kind of move on to the next one. So I'm kind of working on my Mandos, and then I move to my RoboCop, and then I kind of pick some figures that I want to photograph for a couple of weeks, build up a collection of photos, and kind of edit them and play with them and stuff like that. But
that makes sense.
But yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I've got like a bunch of different. I think there's like Tragedy Tales, like, has asked the same question 5 or 6 times, the same question up there, but yeah, that's what we think. But I think it's a fantastic 2-pack. I won't be picking it up though.
One. Yeah, absolutely.
I won't be picking it up because I have I don't need the black suit Superman. I'm not the biggest fan of I'm not a fan of the DCU, to be honest. But I really do like that Nightmare Batman, but not enough to buy the 2-pack.
Pull the 2-pack. Yeah.
So I think it's definitely that time again. Definitely. Where's all my stuff here? There we go. All right. So focus question number 3. I think you already answered this one. Who's your go-to reseller, I presume, or retailer? I presume that's Sideshow, isn't it?
Sideshow is the go-to, but I do look at other websites. Sideshow. There's who do we have? We have overseas. I do look at other websites on overseas. TNS Figures, 1/6 Scale Outfitters. I have bought from Toys Wonderland. I feel like that name is taboo. I feel like if I say that name 3 times, something might happen to me. One of my figures might come alive. But I bought one figure from
14 figures on my shelves from them. Like, so I've majority good experience. But yeah, they have.
Yeah,
they have their issues.
No whatsoever. I bought 2 figures from them before, and I mean, they're sold off. But I purchased from them. They're just my whole thing is that with when I started getting into it, I think the game is kind of changing now with Sideshow, but I never believed in, me personally, I don't want to get criticized, but like day one pre-ordering to get a figure early. I can wait. Patience, I think, in this hobby is key. If you don't have patience, I don't think that you'll last longer than you expect. So for me, patience is another virtue of collecting. So for me, I can wait the 4 or 5 months to get a figure from the US. That just gives me the opportunity to get something else. I know for right now, I have the Mech Test Tony paid off. I have the Batman Forever paid off. I have Wonder Woman 1984 paid off. You know, I have a couple paid off figures already that are just sitting there. There you go.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Definitely get that 2-pack though. But yeah, so I mean, I would say Sideshow is the primary one. It's a good thing, bad thing. I'm not a huge fan of the overall control dominance, you know, in the market. I mean, I understand that's how things are. I would like to see, you know, other US distributors get their hands on some stuff just to give some options. It is kind of hard when everything is funneled through literally one distributor. I know here in the US, but I mean, there's other options, but they worked out for me, so to speak. Cool. You know, I've had
a got you mid-sentence.
There you go.
As a win. So Sideshow is the main one that you go through, but you do look at other ones. What's the last figure you pre-ordered?
Pre-ordered. What's the last one? The Shazam Rock, the Shazam figure. That's the last one I pre-ordered.
You call it the Shazam one, do you?
The Shazam Rock, yeah. The Shazam Black Adam, whatever it is. I can remember. Yeah, last one. Yeah, that's the last one I pre-ordered.
That's a bloody good head sculpt, man. That's
the
body type and everything. Yeah.
Why'd I do it? If you gave me $1 million right now, I don't know why I did it. I mean, I know I want the figure. I don't know why I pre-ordered it day one. I just saw it and was like, gotta have it. It's The Rock. I think it's gonna sit. I don't think it's gonna sell out like crazy. It's just one of those things where I was like, might as well get it. So I pre-ordered it. Sometimes I do that once in a while. I break my own rules. So,
a lot of collectors break their own rules. So then I was gonna move into the future then. So so a few warm-up questions that I like to kind of start this section. I just ask the same people or different people the same question just as a warm-up, but again, you can take it in any direction you want. So like, do you still see yourself collecting in 5 years time?
Yeah, 100%.
10 years time?
Yeah, 100%.
In some capacity for the rest of your life?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Can you see yourself downsizing in the future? Yes,
100%.
Okay. Yep. So with that being kind of established, like what is your, like, if say money and space weren't like an obstacle, like what would your ideal collection room, man cave, whatever you want to call it, display room look like? Like would you be like, would you just go like in like a wall of detolfs? Would you get something custom made? Would you make your own? Would you
funny enough, I'm actually
cases? What you think?
Funny enough, I'm actually moving away from the detolfs as we speak. Behind me where this guitar was, there was actually 3 more detolfs behind me. Right. And I actually have those. I'm actually selling them off. That was one of the things I realized was space. So I'm actually taking a cue from whose channel was it that did the mod pop culture? I want to give him the proper dues.
Pop culture living room Costa.
There you go. Yeah, I want to give him a Costa. I want to give him proper dues because I know Posing with Peter took a variation, but I know he basically got shelving from Walmart and did a module case-esque style.
They look like module cases.
They look, and I know Posing with Peter took his idea and just did some tweaks that catered to his style. So I'm actually going there. I actually ordered the racks. I ordered 2 48-inch long racks, and there's a reason for that. And once again, it's another video why I'm making it. There's nothing wrong with detolfs. I mean, yes, they've increased in price. I mean, I bought them when they were $59, and now I think they're $100. The thing with me and my collection, why you talk about where it's expanding, and the Wonder Woman is an example. Wonder Woman, the golden armor. I wanted that figure, but I personally wanted it displayed full armor, full wingspan out.
Full wingspan, yeah.
And I didn't want to put it on top of the detolf, so it wasn't going to work. Vehicles. I mean, as you can see behind me, I mean, there's a couple things I'll show you, but behind me, you have my, I don't know if you're familiar with the Eagle Moss Ghostbusters Ecto 1 up there. That's a 1/8 scale model. And behind me is the DeLorean. This guy right there, he's 1/8 scale, and those are in big display cases. You know, so space is limited, but I have the DeLorean from Hot Toys, and I want to display that with Doc, Marty. I have Marty already. Doc is on his way when it gets released. So those are things I was forecasting, you know, where my collection is going. And one of my tips that I made in my video was space. I tried to advise people space allocation. If you think that you're going to be in this for the long haul, like you said, 5 years, 10 years, space is really, you have to assess your space. You know, this room that I'm in is an office. convert it into a toy room, but it's got limited space. You know, I can't make the walls bigger, so I have to work within the means that I have and displaying the figures. So I opted to, I'm switching out of the DTOFs very slowly. It's not an overnight process. It's going to take me a few months into the winter. Probably by springtime, it'll be converted, but I'm moving over to the long racks, like I said, what Costa did. And that's going to give me more freedom and allow my figures to breathe a little more. I don't normally put 3. I like your setup where you have 2. Looks like you have about 2 max, 1 to 2. I prefer that clean, let your figures breathe kind of setup. These here jam with 3 in there. That is only because I removed the 3D toss. Otherwise, I'm a 1 to 2 person in you know, let my figures breathe kind of thing. So that's just for the sake of putting everything in there, just to get them in there. And so that's where my collection is going. The other thing to address is my daughter. You know, that's the other reason why I think that I'm going to keep collecting is for my daughter, because I did a bunch of YouTube shorts, you know, that are getting a lot of popularity. And that's really the focus of my channel. I mean, I just got into, you know, the content creation of this. I've only been doing it a month. I mean, I've been in the groups for a long time on Instagram, but in terms of actually being a content creator, I've only been doing it for a month, getting my name out there, you know, deciding to really express my voice, be active in the community, be active in the chats, be active in the streams. I'm going to start live streaming myself soon. So, you know, being active in that and trying to help others. But, my daughter's been a really focal part, and she's going to be on the channel. I mean, I do a cute little 30-second short where I let her quote unquote review her own hot toy. And I know I have people saying like, oh, you let her touch that. I mean, it doesn't bother me. You know, that to me, that's joy. And you know what, that was me growing up as a kid. I was always closed, you know, this is my stuff, don't touch it kind of thing. And, you know, being a father, I can't have that. I can't, you know, have the door closed. Everything's open. I can't like close my door. I mean, door's closed now because my daughter's sleeping. But, you know, my daughter is my life. You know, like I said, she's first and foremost. So the expression on her face, and they're in those videos, her seeing a hot toy for the first time. I think the first one she picked up was the Boba Fett, and she just looked at it and she smiled. And what's really great is that she's really delicate with them. She doesn't like throw them around. She like the Batman. She held the Batman in 1989. I have a video of that. She was playing with the cape, but very delicate. And so that's why I think my collection is going to grow, because, you know, this could be hers one day. I'm not trying to say there's value, you know, passing it down for value. I don't look at this as value. I don't look at my collection as, you know, where's the financial gain in it? You know, I guarantee there's figures here I took a loss for. Every reissue, like I bought Yondu at $600. It's because I wanted Yondu. If they reissue him, I will probably buy the reissue, to be honest. But you know, I'm not worried about taking a loss. I don't care about financials like that. I enjoy about having fun. I love collecting, but most importantly, I love sharing it with my daughter and seeing her face. Seeing her face look at a hot toy is how I looked at that Mark 43 for the first time. I don't think she doesn't understand what she's looking at per se, but she will as she grows up. In another 6 months to a year, she's going to understand. But she comes in here and sees the lights, and that expression to me is priceless. Absolutely priceless.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Maybe you want to address this here? I'll answer one of them. It's like, I think maybe the obvious one, obviously, for me, I don't want to talk about the in-art Joker because everyone talks about it, but like that goes without saying. But in terms of ones that are due to release soon, that Ahsoka Tano, that Rosario Dawson, Mandalorian, Ahsoka.
Absolutely love it, by the way.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. And I'm actually looking forward to one that no one's really talking about, the battling version upgraded suit from No Way Home with the nice diorama base. It's all the battle damage upgraded suit. I'm looking forward to that one. I actually hopped on that fairly quick because I like battle damage. I really like the upgraded suit and that base, and comes with the, I can't remember the name of the device. Come back to me,
box or the
the box thing. Yeah, there's a name for it, but I can't remember. So what about yourself? Like ones that are like coming up?
Yeah, you know, funny enough, I have a hit list in my Excel budgeting sheet that I have. I actually have a separate list by date of figures that are on my must-have hit list. I mean, Cyborg is a given. You know, Cyborg is an obvious one because he's going to fit into a collection. Doc Brown from Back to the Future 1. I'm so looking forward to that figure. I'm not a huge fan of the Back to the Future 3 Westerns. I will own them. They will be coming home, but not I mean, those are down the road. But I mean, Doc Brown, I'm looking forward to that one. Cyborg, I'm really looking forward to that one. And honestly, the other one is the Luke Skywalker from Mando with Baby Yoda, his first appearance. I know that one's probably going to get pushed back because I think that should have been launched already Q4.
Yeah,
I know a lot of those are having delays, but I'm really, and the Ahsoka Tano, like you said, I'm only worried about that one because I know she has her own show coming out. So for me, certain figures I only get one of. I don't army build, so I don't know if I'm going to get that one. But as I said, between the show, Hot Toys release, you won't see another one for a few years, so I might pick that up anyway.
Yeah, that one yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one because just I thought there's a few things that have come out recently that like I thought, man, that was some of the best Star Wars content I've ever seen. Been spoiled, but that episode of Mandalorian, where especially that intro, where you have that kind of foggy, like you and the greenish kind of glow of the forest, and you just see the lightsabers ignite, and she's appearing and slicing people and disappearing. That was I think I go as far as saying that was my favorite.
There's certain people in TV shows and movies that are born to play a role, and she's perfect for that. I mean, there's nobody else I could think of. Absolutely fantastic. And that sculpt, I mean, and that sculpt, if they maintain that sculpt from the prototype photos, that's going to be an unbelievable one too. Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. Like just the lightsabers in that scene, the action itself, the fact that like she was appearing, it was like a Jedi full strength. Like it was just rock and roll. Like absolutely.
So Tragedy Tales says, what would you say the best Iron Man Hot Toys is? I'm gonna think about that one. I'm gonna throw you under the bus. You can go first.
It's hard because there's obviously ones that are already released. Like if I was to say in my collection, I have to look. I don't own a lot of Iron Man figures, believe it or not, because some of them are pre-order. I probably have to say the Mark V in terms of what I own is the Mark V. If I own the Gantry, I'd probably say the Gantry because of the presence. But believe it or not, it's a toss-up between what's on pre-order, which is the Mark I. I'd have to call it a dead ringer for the Mark I or the Mark III. The Mark III is my all-time favorite Iron Man suit. That's my favorite. But that Mark I, there's something about that too. So I'm leaning towards the 3, but it'd be the Mark III or the Mark I have to say.
Yeah, I have the Mark III quarter scale and I love it. It's my only quarter scale. But in terms of what I own, if I could only keep one, it'd be the Mark VI because that's my favorite Iron Man suit. But that Mark III 2.0, I've got that on pre-order, and I think that's going to be something special. I really do.
I think it is too. 100%.
I think if anyone's considering getting an Iron Man, they don't have one, that is the one to get.
I agree, 100%.
Austin Nicholas, thank you very much for being here.
What's going on, Austin?
Thank you very much for viewing. If you're liking the content and you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to 16 Figure Focus and also to Mr. Mom's Collectables on YouTube if you like the content. No, please, no. I'm not sure. I must have missed something here, but I'm not sure what that's about. Collectors of the Universe, but I'm sure it's something good. Saying hi, Austin. What's exciting right now? Hot Toys or third-party companies? I'm gonna go straight there and say Hot Toys. To be honest, I don't really mess with third-party, although some of them are doing great stuff. But I still think Hot Toys have the upper hand, to be honest. But what do you think yourself, Ryan?
I think obviously Hot Toys, but I gotta say third parties, especially if I had to choose, I think So Toys, they're killing it. So Toys. Yeah. I mean, I got that Rogue when they released that Rogue the other day. I got that one right away. I pre-ordered that figure. So, but I think if I had to choose third party, there's a lot of them. I think So-So's they're up there. I really do. I mean,
Austin says, I get all the Mark suits mixed up. You watch a few more of these streams and you'll be right up to date. Don't you worry, Austin. Where would you suggest pre-ordering the Mark III for UK peeps? I'm going to tell you straight out. Order it from Lion Rock Toys. And I will completely be transparent on this. When I want something, I go through every single retailer distributor. I factor in the shipping and their customs, blah, blah, blah. I find the cheapest one, I reach out to them and I say, can you beat this price? 9 times out of 10 they beat this price, but the idea is that I have to do a review from them then. It's like an agreement. Now, Why am I saying this to you? Because if you're in the UK, you're subjective to import tax, I imagine. Like, and if you're not getting charged import tax, then this doesn't affect you. But if you are getting stung for import tax, I would reach out to Lion Rock Toys, explain that you want the Mark III. They usually factor their shipping into the price. The total price that you have is inclusive of worldwide shipping, and tell them that you don't want to get stung for custom charge, and usually they will mark the value down and you won't get caught for it. If it's 30%, that's a major saving. But reach out to them. Don't take my word for it. Engage with them, please. But that's personally who I'd be going through, whether I had a review deal with them or not, and their service is fantastic, in fairness. That's grand. So that I suppose you're in the US, so you don't have to deal with that and stuff. Austin McNicholas says, I'll support Mr. Mom because he's great, and if he refers you, of course.
I appreciate that, Austin.
Do you know Austin?
Yeah, no, him and I, what's funny about that is him and I actually talk on the side. Yeah, him and I have to get together and chat. We talk almost every other day. Yeah, I met him through Instagram, just liking some of his photos. Avid collector as well. He's a great guy. You guys should check him out. He's a big third-party collector. He does Hot Toys, but he does a lot of third parties. And I really lean on him a lot to look at his stuff because he's got a lot of stuff. And he's really good with all the third parties in terms of knowing who's got what and kind of thing. So I rely on him. But he's got a lot of his collection is like, oof, it's on another level. So it's as big as his biceps. I'll put that.
Yeah, gotcha. So this is like a Beskar kid. Beskar kid's got the quads, man. Austin Nicholas has the biceps. Put them together, we have like an Incredible Hulk or something, you know. Insane One. I feel a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror if you don't leave a like and subscribe to 16 Figure Focus and at Mr. Mom's Collectables. Brian, you are a living legend. Thank you very much. Tremble Dust saying hello. Austin saying hello to, Austin saying hello to Chuli and Insane One, and everyone having a bit of good discussion in the chat. 31 people here. Thanks for being here. If you haven't done so already, make sure you consider like and subscribe. So then like you mentioned your ideal setup there. You're going to build similar kind of cases that
correct.
Like
yeah, I'm gonna start that probably next week, so I'll take a few months. But I have a lot of, and the other reason why I'm doing it is because I have a lot of stuff, as you can see in my room. Hot Toys is the primary space, but I have a couple other things that you can see behind me on my shelves. I have other pop culture. I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. I don't think you saw this. Let me see if I can move, if you don't mind. Let me see if I get it.
No problem.
There's my proton pack there that I built. That was my latest venture.
I see.
So that is a one-to-one fully operative.
You did a
What's
video
that?
on that, didn't you?
I did a video on that. I built that for Halloween, so that's a 40-pound proton pack that walking around. But that's I collect stuff that I liked as a kid, and that's one thing I like about Hot Toys is that Hot Toys, it's hard to put into words, to be honest. For me, I'm a big supporter of artistic expression and art when it comes to anything, jewelry, rings, anything that's handmade. I really appreciate that. I have belts that are handmade, things like that. I appreciate someone, because someone took the time with their hands and made this. And I think that's what I really like about Hot Toys is that they're capturing a piece of my childhood, our childhoods. Let's just call it for what it is. And they're capturing into a 6 scale, figure. But the artwork is just unbelievable, and it's a piece of artwork that you're displaying. And it's just, it's hard to put it into words, to really understand. But it's something that's truly awesome. And it's a rabbit hole that you can definitely go down and burn yourself out financially, space, whatever it may be. But I think I set myself in place very well that I'm going to be in the hobby for a long time. And as I said, with my daughter, get to enjoy it with her. She sees what I like and she's really enjoying it now. And, seeing her eyes when she sees these things and she lights up, it's just, that does it for me. She comes in my toy room, so to speak, and she looks around at stuff and, I can't say no to her. And that's what the best part is, that I get to share it with somebody and to watch her grow with my collection, and she'll have an appreciation for it as she gets older. But it's unbelievable. It's such an amazing time to be a collector for me. I absolutely love it.
Good stuff. I'm loving the passion and the enthusiasm, and it's nice that you share it with your daughter as well. Because you started collecting around the same time that she arrived, so just before.
Absolutely.
Austin Nicholas, for me right now, getting the figures is easy, buying new things is fun, but creating a display to bring out the best presents for each figure is absolutely the rabbit hole that I'm going down. You know what? That is probably one of the most fun things for me, because like, you know, it's, you could put the figures just on your windowsill and stuff like that. Yeah, they still look cool, but I think how you display them is it is vital. It can bring your collecting up to another level, and that's a lot of fun, having a clean blank canvas.
I think that's what's great about it, is that, and you know, one thing just to kind of really touch back on to when you talked about selling figures off, you know, when you start getting into it, you don't, when I told you when I started collecting, it was just Marvel, a little bit of DC. I swore to myself I would never do Star Wars. Never would. You know, I never would collect Star Wars. And then Mandalorian came along, and my first Mando was the OG Mando. That was my very first one. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole with Star Wars. You know, and God help me if they start to go back to the original trilogy with the anniversaries coming up. But, you know, that's going to be a problem. But I think curating the collection, I think that's something that people honestly lose focus in, is, you know, it's your collection. You know, I see your collection on your screen. That's a representation of you. This is a representation of me. And as you said, displaying them, posing them, moving them around. And I think that's also what I like about these versus statues. Statues are statues. They are what they are. They don't move. These things, we can pose them up every month, put different capes on them. My little Qui-Gon right there with his, you know, wired cape, a little bit of action, can move them around. There's flexibility. The collection's always evolving one way or another, whether you add, subtract, or just modify what you existingly have. But that was my biggest thing, is curating a collection that if anyone walked into this room, you could say, this is Ryan's collection. Oh, he's got RoboCop. He's got Back to the Future. He's got all that stuff that he loves. The only thing I wish I had, if you asked me a question, is what's my number one I wish I could ever have, is the Blitzway Ghostbusters pack. That's my unicorn that I don't think I'll ever achieve. But
the four of them,
yeah.
That's interesting. There's kind of a buy-sell trade group, an app or website in Ireland called adverts.ie, and there's usually a handful of hot toys and stuff on it. Like, but those Blitzway Ghostbusters like popped up there a few days ago, but they were like €2,000.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And I know was it a couple? I know about a month ago, Sideshow had one of their warehouse find emails where they apparently found one for.
They? Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to max out a credit card. I would have had some explaining to do to my wife if she would have known, but I would have taken that bullet in a heartbeat if I was able to grab that. But yeah, you know, curating a collection, that's my biggest focus, is curating pieces that fit in a collection that represents me. Yeah. I really don't get anything that I don't think fits. And that's why I sold off a few figures. Like, I had the quarter scale Mark III. I loved it. It's my only quarter scale. But due to space, and you know, it didn't really fit with anything, because I removed the Detolf shelf. It was there. I thought I could make like an Iron Man shrine, but it was conflicting with space, and it just didn't work for me. So and then I'm selling it.
Well, that's why that issue is I hung some floating shelves, because I don't like mixing scales. It messes with my OCD.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your floating shelves on one of your videos. It looks really fantastic. Cool. Yeah, I saw it because I have the Age of Ultron right now. He's Age of Ultron Hulk. He's right there, and Thanos is next to him. They're out of place until I get some shelving fit, you know. But they're so big that I don't want to move shelves around, so they're just kind of babysitting my Ecto ones up there.
When you get your setup, and if you still feel you need something, check out those floating shelves. They're like, I think they're like $10. They're called IKEA Lax. They're so easy to install, and they look really clean. Like, they're nice because there's no like, it's just at the shelf, like, and there's no like latch underneath.
There's no like apparatus or anything. It looks very clean. So I think I saw one of your shorts or something like that. You did a quick little video tour of it, and I saw those, and I was like, oh, it's fantastic. You did that with a couple of your other 6 scale. They look really great.
Cheap as well, like, so.
Yeah.
So I just have to ask, like, because this is my favorite question to ask. All right, so God forbid, this is the last focus question, but God forbid, your house goes on fire, and look, your wife and your kid and your dogs, they're all safely outside, and you have time for some reason to safely grab only 3 1/6 scale collectibles. Hopefully this never happens to anyone in the chat or anyone, just that, but humor me. What are your 3 fire figures?
RoboCop.
Nice. Which RoboCop is that? Is that the MMS 203?
It's the original. It's the diecast. Yeah, RoboCop.
Gotcha, yeah.
I would have to say. Oh, you put me on the spot. 1989, Michael.
Great choice.
Iron Man Mark 7.
They're like 3 absolute straight up awesome choices. Like
Yeah.
the Mark 7, like that, a lot of people would say it's their favorite Iron Man, and you have that kind of blend of like classic kind of red and gold, but also the bit of bulk of man in a suit. And
Yeah.
89 and like they're 3.
He's nice. Yeah, I was gonna say when I did my video review on the War Machine Mark 1, which is another unbelievable. That doesn't get the recognition it deserves because it's a reissue. You know, it's what it is. I posed him up with the. I didn't have when I was doing my video review. I didn't have a Mark.
I watched it. And
I didn't have a Mark 6.
I consider getting it. I have.
Yeah, I didn't have a Mark 6 to pose it with.
Yeah.
So I did the Mark 7. Yeah, I did the Mark 7 and the Mark 5, and the Mark 7 next to that was like, they just looked unbelievable. I just such an appreciation for it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Ryan, thank you very much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it and enjoyed the chat and loving the passion and the enthusiasm. Just going to flick through some of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Collector Universe has to commit to buying a bigger house. First world problems, though. I was not tripping. I'm not sure if that's in reference to. Do you ever think they'll reissue the armored Batman? It's Hot Toys. They do tend to do that. Floating shelves of the way. I have my whole collection on them. Nice, Brandon Salad. Good stuff. That's my next figure, the War Machine Mark 1. I couldn't rule that one out, and there's a few bargains I'm seeing already starting to show their heads. So it's a cool War Machine, like. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly just turn this over to your banner. So what's coming up on your channel?
Well, first and foremost, I obviously want to give you all the thanks for allowing me to have, an hour and a half of your time. The community has been so fantastic to me, welcoming me, willing to engage and talk. It's a fantastic community. When you have your voice, when you speak up, there's people there. I can't say how many people in the chat really are appreciative. Austin, Insane One has been a help as well, trying to help me grow, get my voice out there.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I talk to him almost every day.
He needs to sort out that tapeworm, though. I'm worried about him.
There you go.
I'm worried for Brian's health.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm working on a couple videos at the moment. My most recent video is explaining I've been wanting to do a collection tour video. I might do a collection tour video just to show what it is like now and what it will be after. But I'm going to do a video about why the DTOFs, why I'm switching in terms of that. As I said, it's not meant to be a bashing collection video about why they're terrible. They're not. DTOFs are fantastic, but why why don't they work for me now when I thought they worked for me 2 years ago? So that's probably the next thing I'm doing. There'll always be shorts in the meantime. So I have shorts with my daughter. I pretty much film one every other day.
Shorts are so much fun to make, too.
Oh, I love doing them with her.
Yeah.
She comes upstairs and I honestly open up my cabinets. That's why I get people message on the side saying I just literally open the cabinets up and I say, pick what you want, and she just walks up and she'll take something out. She took out the Lando last night, which was that's actually my least favorite hot toy that I own is Lando, because it was just a disappointing figure personally. The cape, the cape is. I'm very upset about it.
And I thought I'd be really disappointed by it, but it was like, okay, I need to futz with the cape. I have it there. He looks like he's about to take off. I need to futz with the cape.
I feel bad saying it. That's in your collection.
No, that's grand. I say stuff that people just annoy people the whole time. I'm not annoyed at all. It's collecting, come on. But I get what you're saying. The cape definitely flares out. I know I've got the futz with it because it's not the way I want it yet, but I thought I'd be underwhelmed by it, but I actually think it's a real classy looking figure, even though I get what you're saying. There's not much to him. And
I bought it.
Really
I won't lie to you. FOMO. I bought it because I thought that it was going to be a sellout. Because usually I think about figures that are one-offs, not like Iron Man, a one-off figure, like a Lando. There's no other Lando except that Lando. So I really thought that it was going to sell out. So I got into the FOMO and I bought the figure. And I'm like, I'm really hoping my saving grace is that for maybe next year we'll get a Han Solo you know, reissue from Empire if we ever decide, you know, and get maybe a Leia, so I could put a little trilogy, you know, a little trio piece together for them, because it just, you know, it is in my collection. He just stands out like a sore thumb. There's very few figures, but like I can't really pair him with anything. I have a Vader, you know, from Empire, but it's hard to pair him with something. That's why I thought about getting the Boba Fett, so I at least pair him up and kind of do something to make it more. But he just stands out like a sore thumb to me. But that's really,
I need to futz with the cape a bit, because I've seen some nice pictures of him with the cape really straight down. So
it just sticks out like it sticks out like a kid. Like, it just sticks out like wings too much for me. But
I just think maybe a bit of an iron or something to work it down. But my top shelf, if you'll probably notice there, you might be able to see it there. But
yep, I see.
It's all original trilogy. It's
I love it. A Boba Fett's catching my eye. I might have to go on the market trades now and look for Boba. Yeah, I love it. So that Mark 6. Oh, the Mysterio. I got the Mysterio. Mysterio's a great one. So, is that the Hot Toys Bane, by the way?
No, it's not actually. It's a third party.
I have a third party one too.
There's only 2 third parties. It's the Daft Toys kit with a Fison M35.
I have the M35 on the, what was it, the King something, what was that one? It was the other, whatever the other third party was that made him. I have him, and I have him on the M35 as well. He's right there next to the DX19. He's right there.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but the biggest thing I'm probably going to be doing in the next couple of weeks is probably starting my own live streams. I've been trying to just kind of build up a little bit of a following first, and then start doing some streams, maybe of a weekly, or set a certain date and try to invite people on that just want to talk figures. And you know, I've been getting a lot of feedback from people who are, believe it or not, like parent collectors, fathers who are kind of in the same situation. I got a lot of positive feedback and messages from people that are really liking the stuff that I'm like showing with my daughter on there. You know, I make sure I retain some stuff because, you know, keep some sense of privacy, but I'm not, you know, showing her. She's part of the channel. Funny enough, she's got like her own little following. People love to see the videos with her, but I think that's what I think the live streaming is the next thing that I want to do, is get people on and do live streaming, talk about things and just different perspectives. As I said, I'm a year 2 going on year 3 collector, so my perspective may be different than yours. You've been in it longer, you know, versus someone else who's been in it 10 years is going to have a different perspective. So I just think that I have a different perspective and voice to offer. So that's, I think the live streaming is the next part that I want to get into in the next couple of weeks, is get a proper setup and kind of figure out my strategy in terms of live streaming. That's probably the next focus of my channel.
Yeah, you've got a good vibe as well, because like you're clearly very enthusiastic and passionate about it. So like that's one of the things that I'd look for when I'm watching a channel. Yeah, absolutely. But also like you're not afraid to speak your mind. Even like the two of us there, we were talking about Lando and we had very different opinions, or like you're moving away from details and I'm big into details. And I think it's important for me when I'm watching a streamer that the person respectfully puts a difference of opinion across. Ben Thomas, I think Ben Thomas is like one of the masters at putting across a difference.
I follow Ben's stuff. I mean, Ben's a great guy too.
But he just does it so like he's got a really good it's like a diplomatic way of putting things across. Like he'd respectfully disagree with people, and it's like,
absolutely. Because you know, because there's always a middle ground between 2 points. And I think with this hobby, when I got into it 2 years ago, real fast, you know, DTOFs were everything people were doing. It was DTOFs. And then it was split where it was DTOFs, and then you were either like Team Modulcase or you were Team
Modulcase.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If I was a millionaire, and I don't think any of us are, we're all 9 to 5 blue collar workers. Modulacases aren't realistic in my future. They're just not. I mean, it's not going to happen. You know, between time, price, nothing wrong with them to offend anybody. I mean, if I could have them, of course, I'd have line my walls with them. Awesome. Yeah, I just time and price. I can't do it. So, like I said, I'm making a video in terms of, and that's my first couple of videos that I'm making on my channel are, like I said, retrospective videos from where my mentality was 2 years ago and why it's changed now. And that's one is shelf space. Why did I go all DTOFs? And now why am I switching out of DTOFs? So there you go. Modulcase. I love them. I just can't afford them.
Yeah. Do you know what? And like a lot of people don't even say things like that on streams. Like, you know, there's just the honesty. Like, you know, I appreciate that. Yeah, I did a video it's a series of videos called Shit Collectors Say, and the first one was just like, one of the things was just like Modulcase, because I felt like every stream I was on these days, someone was talking about Modulcases. But I just think I can't rule them out. But I'm happy with what I have. But they do look fantastic. Again,
they look fantastic, and you know what? Credit to Costa, like I said, for making that video, or taking a budgetary. And like I said, I'm gonna make a video of me making those, not to try to replicate or copy, but like someone like that comes out and finds a niche in between. Like, you know, you said you have two sides. Well, he just found a way to kind of split the difference and say, you listen, if you can't do that, can't do that. Here's an in between. And I watched his video a dozen times, and I watched, like I said, Posing with Peter. He took his and did a little bit of a twist on it. And that's the other thing with Module Case, $59. I actually bought one still in my garage, brand new in the box, because I was future-proofing myself, thinking, I might need another DTOF, but, you know, $100 for them. So there's no wrong answer at the end of the day. And it's about curating your collection, what works best for you. And as I said, if I could have Module Cases and you gave me unlimited funds, my walls would be lined with them. I see people on those streams with Module Cases, and they look gorgeous. So
yeah, the Module Case dungeon, man. I would say, like, I've seen a lot of good displays, but like just Mario there in the chat, I've said it before and I say it again, I just really like the way he sets up his Module Cases with those the
100%.
white strip lights, and the figures still have space to breathe and they're staggered and stuff. It's just, that really speaks my language.
Yep, absolutely. 100%.
All right, folks, so we're gonna call it a night there anyway. It's definitely time for me to hit the hay, but
you're burning a midnight oil. I appreciate it.
no problem, man. I was on a stream earlier on, and then I came literally back from work, hopped on a stream, went and saw Wakanda Forever. I'm giving it a thumbs up, 4 stars. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone, but
4 star. Oh, there you go.
It's the first MCU film I thought was good since No Way Home. I was a big fan of No Way Home.
Phase 4 has been a complete disappointment, so I hope this,
I think there's
this movie.
A lot of goats, man. Those Thor goats.
Yeah.
So folks, if you haven't done so already, follow, obviously subscribe to Mr. Mom's Collectables on YouTube and at Mr. Mom Collectables on Instagram. My own channel, again, if you haven't done so already, if you like the content, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to 16 Figure Focus on YouTube, and follow at 16 Figure Focus on Instagram. What is up? My neck is kind of actually at me, so I'm gonna basically chill out for the weekend, and I'm gonna make a lot of content. So there's gonna be more shorts coming. I have to actually make a review video on Lando, because that was Lion Rock Toys gave me a fantastic deal, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So I need to get that done, and then after seeing Wakanda Forever, I might have to do a little bit of shopping. If you know, you know, folks. All right. That's me done. Thanks very much, Ryan. And
I really appreciate the time. Thank you, everybody.
See you, folks. Good luck.
Bye.